Hey, what's up guys, KDFlash96 here. I'm going to be commentating on the Seaside Super Tournament round of 8, and this is going to be in Group C between C and ZerO. C is going to be the blue Terran here. I think the first map is on Fighting Spirit, and we're going to be C in blue Terran 7 o'clock position with ZerO as the white Zerg in the 1 o'clock position. I'm going to lower the volume so the current commentators cannot overblast me. I think this is an overpull by ZerO, so we're going to see probably a quick hatchery soon, right after he gets a few more drones out. And I saw C making a supply depot and probably making a barracks now, so he's probably going to go for standard as well. A little bit about these guys right off the bat. ZerO is well known for being one of the most creative StarCraft players back before StarCraft 2 came out. And he was always very creative. I love this style of play, especially against Terran Mech. He was, I think, the first person to innovate queen play and spawn broodlings. And he was very commonly known on Rujin Stars, and he helped Sulky become who he is today as a mentor, before Sulky decided to take off in StarCraft 2 and become like a god now or something. So C having to build a second supply depot for command center since he did not scout ZerO, but he will be putting down a command center soon. This is actually pretty delaying of him actually because he hasn't scouted, so he's actually forced to even put down a bunker before command center. So economically, C will be behind ZerO by a little bit. But ZerO also made 6 Zerglings early on instead of maybe just a pair of scouting wings or maybe just 4. Instead he went for a full 6. So economically, they're pretty equal. I wouldn't really give one player a distinct advantage yet. But C's SCV is getting denied scouting by ZerO, so we will not be able to tell what ZerO is doing. And ZerO actually, oh there you go. ZerO has put down a 3rd hatchery. I did not see it yet. In response, we have a command center from C. So, pretty standard. C getting his refinery, probably going to see more barracks going down, or maybe even mech, but I feel like the refinery is way too late for any kind of mech play. And we're going to see if there's going to be a run-by from the Lings. No, there won't be. See the bunker out front with, I think, 2 Marines. Oh, they will be going. Oh, never mind. Very, very hesitant play by ZerO, not deciding whether or not he will go for a run-by or not. But I think he doesn't have speed, so a run-by is probably not going to do much. There's the engineering base, so yeah, it's going to be Marine Mech. And C, I think, is more commonly known for his Marine Medic play anyways, besides Mech. Although he has brought out Mech a few times anyways. And he does get an SCV scouting. Again, this is really weird all of a sudden. I see a lot of players who are going to be doing this, who send their scouting, second scout out to the 9 o'clock position or to the 3rd base area and then scoot around the entire map. But he is going to see what ZerO is doing. He's going to see that 2nd extractor going down, so probably knows ZerO is going to be going for a standard 3 hatch meta. And engineering bay already getting that +1 upgrade, so we might see a 4x timing stim with +1 upgrade from C, unless he is just getting it for the upgrades. Academy going down now. Notably, no 2nd racks yet, although he'll probably be throwing down some extra production buildings when he has more SCVs and more economy. And he sees the layer going down, so pretty standard right now. But he really wants to keep this SCV alive until he can see either a Spire or a Hydro stand going down, which is very, very important. Obviously, it depends whether or not his follow-up will be. If he sees a Spire, he's going to throw down turrets. If he sees a Lurkers, he's probably going to throw down an extra bunker. Or try to do a more aggressive push, knowing that ZerO will not have any kind of pressure on him, because Lurkers don't really put pressure on the economy of the Terran. He does see a creep colony going down. Very easy response when you see kind of a small force pushing out. And he has not killed off the SCV, so we'll see if this SCV can stay around for the Spire. And yeah, oh, I don't think he saw the Spire, but he probably knows at this point it's probably Spire. That's crucial. He did deny the scouting, so C will still have to throw out blind missile turrets anyways. And he's going for 3 barracks and researching stim. We're going to see if he's going to stay in 3 barracks or he's going to keep going up. If he goes up more, it could be like a pseudo all-in, where if he doesn't get much done and shuts down a third of ZerO, he's going to be kind of economically behind. we've seen Flash before he left for us StarCraft 2 do a lot of Terran reserves, and he did quite a bit of 4-hatch, or 4 racks, 5 racks, plus 1 stim timings. But this is looking just like 3 racks pressure, and then probably grabbing tech right afterwards, instead of staying on 4 or 5 racks and trying to keep doing a lot of pressure with that. As I said before, a lot of Zergs we saw with Zerg vs Protoss getting an extra hatchery, where it used to be 3-hatch Spire to 5-hatch Hydra, getting a 6-hatch. We have seen a lot of Zergs recently also getting a 4th hatch in this build, where they get a really early 3rd base, instead of, well, in addition to the mutas that they produce. But we're seeing ZerO not really do much, so instead he's just going to be very safe getting mutas before getting a hatchery. And seeing the drone do the standard, I'm going to grab one of the corner mains and plop lurkers at the top of the ramp. But there is this point in time where Zerg kind of has a very weak point. This is the time right now. Mutas aren't out yet, and Hydra's name just came up and he's researching lurker aspect. So this is the time where Terrans can do a lot of pressure if they want to push out, but at the same time Zerg will want to harass the Terran mineral line and deny them econ. We're going to see if C brings his Marines back to defend, and wow, 5 missile turrets. C is very, very defensive right now. We're going to see if C is going to keep pushing, or he thinks his turrets will do enough of defense. And as it turns out, he's going to be bringing back his Marine Medic. And ZerO is kind of saying, yeah, you kind of have to bring your forces back, or else I'm going to destroy your entire economy. But ZerO is weirdly sent a drone up to the top left, but not taking a base. And C is actually, I think, trying to find a 3rd base right now. He did scan the bottom right-hand main, and he hasn't seen anything, so he is actually, he's in the dark a little bit. There are 4 silent colonies which will block this small force by C. And ZerO still is not taking a 3rd, which is kind of interesting. I think... Oh, this is very smart. What is C doing? Is he going to actually take a really quick hit in 3rd? But ZerO has mutas, or I should say Hydras, that are about to morph into lurkers at the top of his ramp. And C now knows where the 3rd is because he's seen the drone. And moving his Marine Medic force up there, very smartly. But there are lurkers morphing, so I'm wondering if these Marines will get there in time, and in response there's a small speedling force that might do some harass and do a run-by into the main of C. And he has stim, he's going to try to catch these lurkers. This could be a big pivotal moment in the game. If C can get up this ramp, oh, there is a very well-placed lurker egg though. And the other lurker is morphing right behind. And he's not going to be able to kill this lurker before the first lurkers are coming out, and that's going to force C off. And ZerO will have his 3rd base uncontested, and getting a very quick hive right even before his third base going up. And ooh, big catch by C, managing to damage a lot of mutas, and he's getting a radiate now. He's going to do for that standard 9-minute timing push against Zerg. Zergs tend not to be this low econ. It's really weird. He has gone for a very, very quick hive. Although, I guess, quick hive is an understatement considering that Terrans have timing pushes now. And really interestingly, C has actually opted for 2 vultures before tank protection. It's kind of weird. So his tank protection is going to be a little bit delayed, and so I don't think he's going to be going for the standard 3-tank vessel push. Instead, he has 2 vultures, might be putting on spider mines. And his machine shop is spinning, not sure why. He doesn't have tanks on the field, so I'm not sure it's siege. I think he has vulture speed, so I think it's mines, and he's going to go into more vultures instead of tanks. So this could be more of a SK Terran style push, and he has lurkers at the top, but C is going to be pushing in, and he's going to be able to go both lurkers without losing too many Marines. Oh, there's actually 3, a good rating on the mutas, not a good split by ZerO, and finally manages to split off the mutas, but does a lot of damage to the rest, and a nice canal going up right now for ZerO. He's going to try to protect it, but I think the nice canal is going to go down, and he's going to lose his 3rd base. ZerO is losing this game pretty bad right now. And this 3rd base is one of the most important bases on the map when in a Terran vs Zerg. It's always heavily contested. But he has lurkers at the bottom of the ramp. He is going to trap C's forces here in the top left expansion. While grabbing 2, he's going to double expand to the bottom right. And we're going to see how C's going to be able to deal with this. He sees it. Oh, but ZerO has not brought his lurkers. ZerO with a very big blunder here, and he's going to lose a lurker, only killing 2 Marines. And C is still going to have his Marine Medic still trapped here, but he has a much better position with his Marines on the low ground with the Lurkers instead of being trapped in a small choke point and grabbing more factories. So he is going to go into mech now. You could say this is more of a standard. I don't see many Terran Zergs now actually opting for like a 4 racks, 5 racks, because that has a lot of minerals costed into more barrack production. And another big rating on the meters. I'm not sure if he's able to split. Again, not splitting very well. Those meters are so damaged right now. I'm not sure how he's going to be able to break this this push by C, and C is easily, comfortably just breaking in to this bottom right expo area. And ZerO just, where is units? ZerO is just getting heavily outclassed right now. His timings are a little bit off, or C just has a good read on ZerO. He has to cancel this 3rd base, and he's going to go up now into the 4th base and going to take out this base, and he did not cancel it. Very importantly, he loses another 300 minerals, and ZerO is just desperately trying to get up a 3rd base, really desperately needs that 3rd gas, because he is on Hive Tech, and Hive Tech really does need 3 gases, but he's going to be able to try to clear this push. He has a lot of lurkers, but C is just going to back up and, you know, keep his Marine Medic alive. But he will lose his force, but we're going to see, oh, he does a swarm up. We're going to see how much damage the rest of these Marines can do, taking a lot of Zerglings. Oh, the Defiler is there. I'm not sure if he's going to snipe a Defiler. Oh, he did snipe the Defiler. That's very important. That's a lot of gas, especially when ZerO is hurting on gas economy right now, and a lot of firebats now for C. Not many medics, though. Kind of curious, but ZerO scrambling to get up a 3rd. He really needs that 3rd gas right now, or else he's not going to be able to support this Defiler tech. And, you know, more crucially, he's not going to be able to get close to Ultra's tech. He's finally putting up his base again, another double expo. He's got a lot of minerals banked up because he's still hurting for gas, but not minerals. And that is generally how ZerO operate. They just really need gas, and that's why they only need like 9 drones on minerals per base. C does manage to notice that there are no more lurkers blocking in his forces at the top left expansion, and he's grabbing a 3rd at the 9 o'clock. So C right now is in a great position, and he's actually, I think, double expanding. He's taking this top left expo right now as well, and yeah, he has a 3rd up and running, and he's getting a lot of factories, getting a lot of vultures out on the map, going to put down a lot of spider mines everywhere, and spider mines are really, really good against Zerg because they have to run the lurkers in. Heavy vultures going to sneak up into the 3rd. He knows the 3rd is there, and here come the big irradiates. It's really interesting enough. You know, I talk about a lot, and he's consuming the lurkers to put up swarm. And a plague group, not that big of a plague, but he does manage to put some on. And he's getting a nice canal now up at this bottom left main expansion area. And C is just pushing in. He does not care that there are lurkers underneath this cloud. Actually, there are no lurkers. He took them out all with the firebats. Loading up Marines into that bunker, and he's going to be able to shut down another base again. Actually, another 2 bases if he's going to snipe that natural expansion, and he's going to be able to cancel his Nidus canal again. He's going to take out the 2 bases here in the bottom right, and ZerO is really hurting. C is just playing phenomenal right now, and you know, I can see why he was able to make it into the Terror Temps finals against Bisu, even though he got crushed. But C, will his forces this time actually get, you know, pressured in? His Demutas are able to take out some science vessels because they were plagued, but this is not going to be able to do enough damage. He is going to snipe a lurker. No, he will not. The lurker and swarm go down, and C is going to have to retreat up again into this high ground area. But he's got a lot of firebats. He could, you know, hypothetically break this. And a big plague, this time a very good play by ZerO. But ZerO, you know, is still finally getting up. He's still being denied a 4th gas, and at this point in the game, Zergs really do want a 4th gas, but at the same time, C has his 4th base up and running now at that top left-hand main, and this is how you know when a Zerg is being really heavily outclassed, is when a Terran is actually able to compete in the number of bases, and ZerO unable to grab more bases, and more factories now being put down by C. He's going to start grabbing a lot more tanks. And this is when a critical amount of tanks are just going to be built, and it's finally getting irradiated. Some sun colonies finally being created, but there are tanks now, and I think there's a dropship that dropped tanks at the high ground expansion for C. And he's going to try to push up into here. I'm not sure how effective this will be. Marines standing up at the top of the ramp, and big swarm going down. He's just going to move and micro his forces back. Another star swarm, but I'm not sure how much energy those defilers have now with 2 swarms being used. So ZerO is still trying to push forward. He really wants to grab this 4th expansion. More radius going on the lurkers. But ZerO is desperately trying to hold on to these bases. Like, his economy right now is hurting by a lot. He has been denied bases multiple times. He's lost hatcheries, and importantly, he's not been able to cancel his hatcheries. That's 300 minerals that he could use for other things. Maybe take another macro hatch. But right now, he's spending most of his minerals on trying to grab expansions rather than taking more macro hatches. I'm not sure he even has any macro hatches besides the initial 3rd hatch that they usually get in this build. And C also grabbing that 5th Expo at the bottom left natural expansion. C is going to be able to push and pump out so many tanks and so many vultures, and he's going to be able to start halting his marine medic production. And that's when you know a Terran is confident in their economy, is when they stop and they go purely into mech. They're able to just continuously grab more and more expos and build more and more factories to sustain their army production. And yet the barracks have lifted. They're going to be scouting information. I really wish they just make 1 meter and they would kill all those barracks, but unfortunately that's not the case. I really like how C played. It was a very efficient build where he started off with a very low amount of medic marines, so he's able to get some more banked minerals in order to reach up to that area where he's able to take more tanks and vultures and factory production. But before he went into tanks and siege mode, which cost a lot of gas, he went for vultures first, which is why he's able to get up such a high amount of science vessels instead of maybe rushing tanks. And now he's only make 1 science vessel every so often. Instead he's able to make consistent science vessel production. But now that he's switching to heavy mech, I don't think he's going to be able to. He's going to pump more science vessels out, and he does have a few Goliaths out just in case ZerO goes for a mutalised tech switch. I'm not sure why ZerO don't do that a lot. When ZerO kills off all the marine medic push and they see the barracks lifting, I'm very curious as to why they don't just make mutas and break everything and they're able to halt. There's this switch, but it's so late, right? Because now if you think about it, ZerO has seen the switch and he's going to be able to produce more Goliaths instead of vultures now at this point. As you can see, the mutas now trying to take out the tanks. Again, this is really late. I'm not sure why Zergs don't do this more often. Will they just go for a quick muta tech switch? They have the tech for it, but now it's a little too late. There's a few Goliaths out, but these amount of Goliaths will be able to take out this low amount of mutalisks. And irradiates again, but this time a good split by ZerO, unlike before where he was unable to get a good split off. He does have 4 gas, so I'm going to see how he's going to utilize his 4 gas. He's got a lot of tanks out pushing for C. He's going to try to break another expo, but Storm goes off. It's going to stall his push temporarily, but the tanks are still going to be able to do a lot of splash damage underneath that cloud. And he's just going to be able to still push in. Nope, he's going to fall back a little bit. Realizes the time committed is not worth it. Now there's a bunch of mutas out, and maybe C does not have the amount of Goliath production that he wants. There's not a lot of missile turrets here. He might be able to shut down this top left-hand expansion by C, and yeah, there's just not a lot of turrets out. Where are the Goliaths? C should have known this was coming, I suppose. He does have a few more Marines, but they won't be able to do much against these mutas. They did take out 1. But the rest are just tanks and SCVs right now, and ZerO is now thinking well, his tanks are out here, I'm going to try to stall his push with Dark Swarm, and meanwhile my mutas will do a big counterattack and take out 2 of his bases and halt mining there and put him back to 3 bases. But C is, I feel like he's in a great economic position compared to ZerO. He's stalling with those tanks. He's like, I'll sack tanks to get more turrets out, and you're not going to be able to do a lot of damage to me. And yep, there come the Goliaths. He's now switching his focus into Goliath production. And these are a lot of mutas, actually. Probably 2 control groups of muta. But he does have that just an impending mech hammer that is still knocking on the front door of ZerO. More mutas being produced by ZerO, not any Hydras. He's not going to switch into a traditional Hydra muta bow and try to deal with this. Drops are coming down, maybe dropping some tanks out, but he's going to try to snipe this command center right now, and that's going to be big if he can kill this command center, but he's actually going to instead focus on the Goliaths. I'm not sure why. There's not many Goliaths out here. He could DPS down the command center and then focus on the Goliaths, but I don't think he has any reinforcing mutalisks right now. And ZerO, he did do a decent amount, but I'm not sure it's enough to catch him up in this game. he's still being sieged on all fronts at his 4th base and his 3rd base. But he's continuously just stalling with Dark Storm. He's just making Muta or Zergling and Defilers and just continuously just consuming those lanes and throwing up that Dark Storm again. But C is still in a very economically ahead position. He's probably throwing out even more factories right now, ramping up that production. And C is probably going to try to take that 6th slot position, maybe even try to take out that bottom right and take bases of those for himself. And this Medic Marine are able to step a few meters, 3 meters going down already. And that's actually very cost efficient with those Marine Medic. There's a lot of Goliaths out here right now. And +3 attack has been used for these Goliaths. And already going down on the meters, ZerO is not splitting. And there's a lot of Goliaths here. And they're going to easily take out this Mutaflock. And these Mutas are not going to be able to do as much damage anymore. And yeah, I'm just not sure how ZerO is supposed to win this game right now. The 3rd base has gone down, and ZerO is just ZerO's lost at this point. I think I don't find a way where ZerO can come back in this game. His main is probably almost mined out at this point as well, and he really needs to grab that 4th in the main base. But this Goliath and tank push is just going to absolutely, clean up all of ZerO's forces and bases. And really crucially, ZerO just lost 2 more bases early on, that Marine Medic push. And it's very curious, on only 3 barracks, C was able to do so much with that small force. You'll see Terrans go for 4 or 5 barracks, and they really want to push and try to kill off that 3rd base. But they're spending a lot of economy into trying to deny 3rd bases, whereas here it's only 3 barracks. So ZerO lost a lot just to a very minimal amount of units, and so that's why C was just able to get so much forces up and build up a big advantage compared to ZerO. ZerO still trying to stay in this game up their final hits the GG as I say it, and that's going to be game 1, ladies and gentlemen. C takes it, and he's going to go up 1-0 in this set of the round of 8 Seaside Invitational. And I will catch back with you in set 2.